Hello and welcome to World Talks with me, Ashim Kumar. Wildfires are raging across southern Europe, forcing mass evacuations in France and Spain as extreme heat and prolonged drought fuel an increasingly destructive fire season. Low river levels, including on the Danube, are exposing the wider impact of a climate change. Joining us is Mikołaj Gumulski, he's Climate Campaigns Coordinator at Greenpeace. Mikołaj, welcome to TVP World. Thanks for taking the time.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. So, look, I mean, this is the first time, I think, for most people that we've seen anything quite as intense in Europe. What's going on?
So, in the last few days, but also in the last few weeks and months, we saw a really historic effects of climate change. There was extreme heat waves, and now these are followed by extreme wildfires, which are raging across especially Western Europe. As of right now, more than 300,000 people had to be evacuated from France and Spain. Also, the area that was burned already is pretty huge because it's more than 1,000 square kilometers. So, and the authorities in France, for example, in Bordeaux region, are saying that it is truly a historical disaster. They have not seen such levels of destruction for decades. And these are the effects of climate change that we are seeing right there and right now.
Okay, I want to ask you specifically about that, Mikołaj, because, you know, we've had heat waves in Europe before. This is not the first heat wave we've had. Why is it different this time? And how much of that is due to climate change and how much is due to other factors?
Yeah, so of course, we had sometimes high temperatures in Europe, also heat waves. But the thing that's changed due to the climate change is the severity and how long do they last? Because we have to understand that conditions such like this, very dry soil, very dry vegetation, create a perfect conditions for wildfires like this. And for example, in the Polish context, in the 60s and 70s, there were only a few days every year, average of days with temperature more than 30 degrees. Now we regularly have more than 20 of them. And it is a pure statistics which show how the changing climate really affects our lives in Europe, but also worldwide. So,
right. Well, I mean, this is certainly the first year where we've had such high temperatures, over the summer. I'd like to move on, though, to the response to this, Mikołaj, because the European Union has a response centre, for civil emergencies like this. And there has been a multi-country response, including about 100 firefighters from Poland. How effective has the response been in putting down those fires?
So the firefighters are, of course, heroes, and they're trying to protect people's lives and their homes. These responses managed to limit these effects of these wildfires, but with conditions like this, as I said, with very dry vegetation, forests, etc., there is really no way to stop wildfires like this in a day or two. Please remember that these are very intense disasters. For example, in recent days, above the wildfires that were created, there was a special cloud forming, which is called pyrrocumulonimbus. It's basically a storm cloud, but it only happens when there is an extreme heat source underneath. So, for example, for context, similar cloud was created after the nuclear bombing of Hiroshima. So that really shows you the perspective and comparison of how intense this disaster is. So there is really no easy way to limit disasters like this in short term, but we can do a lot long term, and
Yes.
that includes
What can we do,
restoring nature.
Mikołaj? What can we do to prepare for this? If it, to at least prevent it, if we can't, deal with it in its entirety as it's happening now, as we've seen, what can we do to prevent it from happening to this extent in the future?
So first of all, long term, we have to stop climate change, and it is an obvious thing to do. We had to limit our use of coal, oil, and gas. But if you are asking me about the response more locally or nationally, the things that we can do and Europe should do is to restore nature, because nature is our greatest ally in fighting these effects. For example, wetlands or natural forests really help to limit these effects and limit the extension of droughts. Yeah, if there is more natural vegetation, if there are natural rivers, they allow for a landscape to behave like a sponge. Yeah, like it allows to accumulate that water and store it for later. But when we have not natural landscape, and it's especially important in that region, because small interesting fact, in the 18th century, Napoleon II, I believe that was him, he ordered for exactly this area to remove its wetlands and to make a forest for producing wood. So even 150 years later, we see effects of that. So
Right.
restoring nature in places like this
So
would
what
really
is
help
this-
us
what-
to limit.
So, Mikołaj, you talk about, let's talk about the water levels. I mean, the water levels are already low. It's not that, they're at their normal level. So they, in themselves, the rivers are not being, we know about the Danube, for example, is not being a natural fire break. But what is the land currently used for?
So the Danube is a river which is partially regulated heavily, so it's not a natural river. It was used for and it was changed a lot. So the ability of such a river to let's say delay the effects of drought of heat waves is much smaller than a natural river. Places for example, in Danube, there are problems with riverboat transportation, which really shows us how these conditions for rivers to be used were changed. Like in also another fact is that there are a lot of entities around Danube that are using this water, that are, for example, making it heat up. So these conditions really create a perfect opportunity for disasters like this to occur.
Okay, just very, very quickly, if you would, Mikołaj, very quickly. The land that is currently burning, you say it's not natural land. What is it being used for?
So a lot of the forests in the southwestern region of
Yeah,
France are artificial forests, which are used to produce wood. And as I said before, previously there were wetlands,
what are
and
they being used for at the
it's really.
moment, Mikołaj?
You mean this wood from this forest?
So they are forests. Sorry, maybe I'm
Yeah,
misunderstanding. They are currently forests.
yeah.
All right.
They're,
Okay.
they are, but they are artificial. So their ability to act as a water storage is much lower than a natural forest or
Understood.
wetlands that were there before.
Understood. Mikołaj Gumulski, unfortunately, we have to end it there, but thank you very much indeed for sharing your analysis with our
Thank you
audience,
very
and
much.
have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks. That brings us to the end of this episode of World Talks. Don't go away, lots more coming up. Goodbye.